Hello, you beautiful people. I nearly forgot to press record then.
Hello.
Yeah, that wouldn't have gone down well.
It wouldn't have gone down well. We would have been talking and not recording, and then halfway through,
You know, I am still so tempted one day when we do that countdown to stick $1 something in. Because if people don't know, we talk before we do this, so we've seen
they
each
do
other
now.
and got ourselves prepared.
Do
And you
it.
just give it away. Well done.
Well, it's not a closely guarded secret that we do actually communicate with each other. Makes this a little bit easier.
Yeah, but we could be like the Top Gear lot, like Richard, lanky fella, and Small Fry, who literally hate each other outside of the TV show.
Do they?
They don't talk or anything. Literally don't communicate until they do the
that
TV
must be
show.
a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
Hello and good evening. Hello.
Welcome
Guten Tag
to
and
episode
all that
7 of No Holds Barred. I am Bernard. This is Ian to my right, your left, whichever way. I don't know anymore. Give up.
And I'm the filling at the bottom.
Is our sandwich filling in between? How are you?
Can I just say, I think people can read.
Yeah, but it's nice to introduce, even though they can read, you can still introduce us each time. God's sake.
I like to be introduced.
Yeah.
Now, what they should be doing is watching us from the very beginning, then they'd get to know our fucking names anyway. Just saying.
Because they'd be looking at us thinking, I don't want to talk to him, don't want to talk to him. God help him, I don't want to even look at him. You figure out which one you are.
I think you've talked about myself there,
I'm the last.
Yeah.
Oh, my mic's gone limp.
It needs
and that's not a euphemism.
I think we should re-record all this.
No, carry on.
Do you know what I realised last week? We were talking, like, we put the images of the Queen up, didn't we? Was it last week or the week before?
I don't know. I think it was the week before.
Yeah. I uploaded it all to Spotify and then realised no one can see what we were talking about. We're describing this picture and not one soul can see on Spotify because it's a podcast. So we might have to describe, if we put images up, we might have to describe them.
Oh, okay.
Just in case.
Like,
so Ian,
it's a black man.
Put your things away. Keep them away from the screen. Don't want to see any of that. We don't want to describe any of that.
Listen, I like his creepy dolls.
I was talking about him.
Hey, you leave him alone. Stop picking on Ian.
I know, yeah. You know what? Do you want? I'll just get a shot, an image screen, and just have it there. You don't need to see me.
Listen, you stay where you are.
You stay.
You know what it is, Martin? It's that you can't compete with something that's sexy on the same screen, and you don't have to giggle. True. No, you didn't have to smirk them, Martin. Stop that.
I couldn't help it.
Are we going?
Are we going to talk about me?
Are we?
Shall we get on with it?
Get on with it. Yeah.
So, in the news this week, we have seen, and we're going to go to Martin for this one because he's the one who actually brought it to our attention, and it's the rise in domestic abuse. I'll throw it to Martin just because he's got some facts and figures. And
I haven't got no facts and figures, but as I was watching the news the other day, and we were going to talk about it last week, there's been a rise. 25% more men have rung in domestic abuse helpline since the beginning of lockdown. I mean, and it's shocking, really.
I think it's because it's seen as a female thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, not taking away that domestic abuse towards male or men or women is bang out of order.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Now, does domestic come under, like, is that like physical or is that like emotional and all that? Does that come under that umbrella?
Yeah, I think it's all under the whole same blanket. I think it's all connected because I think it's just any form of abuse in the household, isn't it? From my understanding. So that'll be emotional, physical, mental, those type of abuses. I would presume it'd be that.
Yeah, I'd say because
it's not something you really think of a man going through of like domestic abuse because it's just like, well, you're a big butch man. What are they going to do to you?
Yeah, because I was looking on my Facebook today, and there was a lad who I've got as like he's on there. I don't think he's a friend. Like, I don't think I've ever had a single conversation with him or anything. But he put a picture up and a statement to say this guy, for the last year and a half, he's been in a relationship with him. And he's had black eyes, he's had fractured ribs, and today he put up saying, enough's enough. And he named and shamed his partner and put all these pictures up on him on Facebook of what he'd actually gone through and police reports and everything. I mean, so, and to look at him, this guy, he's literally like a big guy, quite a hefty looking fella. And yet he was getting proper battered left, right and centre by this little knobhead.
It's a strange one, isn't it? How you let yourself get abused that way.
I mean, I don't think I could love. So if somebody said they loved me, and then they smacked me, that's not love.
But it's not. It's not. It's not. But like Ian's just said, like, you know, someone getting into that position, sometimes you don't actually realize you're in that position till you're actually too far in.
Yeah,
it's like I'll say my first relationship was emotional and mental abuse, and I didn't realize till I was like 6-7 months in that it was actually that's what it was.
I think that's the thing, isn't it, with the abuse cases that you hear? It's not a straight away thing. It seems to something that goes on over time.
It's gradual.
Starts off little things and then gradually builds up. Because you've all heard that one where a woman said, "Oh, he smacked me, but he said he was sorry," and I've given him a second chance. I'm not being funny, but if I'm in a relationship personally and somebody hit me, I'm gone.
Yeah,
I hold myself above that.
But you could be that strong character, that strong personality that could walk away. Whereas that person might
I'm not taking it away from these people who suffer with this and stay in the relationship for long lengths of time.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anything worse, to be fair. And especially if there's kids involved and like people are staying with these people just because they've got kids. I don't think that's a good enough excuse to stay in an abusive relationship.
Because
it probably isn't, but that's a big decision you make, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
because
you're not taking balls
and walk away.
Yeah, because it's not just your life. You like affecting how it's like you've got little ones, you know. But like this is where like the last few months where like you can praise Hollyoaks for bringing this, especially on within a gay relationship, of bringing that forward, because they've done it where the person who doing the abuse was a police officer. So that
I don't know. I can't say I've been watching it, to be fair.
Literally just finished the last few weeks. He's been murdered now. Sorry, spoilers. But not for you too. For anyone else who watches, he's been murdered. But like the whole build up to that is within like the whole year or so that they've done it, is he's slowly integrated into his life, this police officer, into, I think it's John Paul's life. So, and he's kind of slowly doing little things to twist, situations and making people around this person think that they're a different type of person. So it's like, I think there was one instance where I think he walked into a door, the abuser walked into a cupboard door, went to the hospital. One of the nurses was like, "Oh, how was this happened?" And there was a phone call, and like it was a PC Kiss or whatever his name is. That's a stupid name. That's the officer's name, PC Kiss.
You can tell Bernard watches a lot of Hollyoaks.
I do watch a lot of Hollyoaks. Yeah. But like this story was like really intriguing just because it showed how slowly it can take, because it was like 18 months worth of a storyline. So it just showed how slowly you could easily get into it and then be.
What do you think it starts off then? Emotional abuse.
Yeah.
They belittle the person, they slowly planting them seeds where they become, I don't know, worthless, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. And then to have this person who's like, well, you're not worthless, but I'm the one who's making you feel worthless without actually doing it directly. So then you just see how the abuser is making their person more reliant on them.
So that's premeditated then, innit? Because that's like...
Now, that's premeditated.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, because that's proper working your way through their psyche and destroying it bit by bit.
But
that's just proper planning.
Yeah.
But it just shows how, sometimes how easy it might be for someone, especially if you battered down and brought down to your lowest point of being worthless and you've got no self-worth.
Do you think that's why men have a problem admitting to it? Because one, they might not do. They may have the assumption that one, no one's going to believe them. It's a sign of weakness on their part.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I don't think. Luckily, I've never been in that situation where any of my partners have. I mean, as I've been with twats and people like that who, cheated on me and all that sort of crap. But if one of them ever smacked me, I think I'd fucking lamp them back.
Yeah,
I would.
I wouldn't do it to a woman, but I'd take it. I'd
to
take
be
it
fair,
down
though, I'm not being funny or nothing, but and this is where I'll probably get slated for it. But if a woman can hit you, why can't you hit them back? If I'm out in town and if a girl's come at me, I mean, you've seen how girls are vicious. I'll fucking smack her one. I will literally kick a bitch. Don't give a shit.
I'm the same as you, man. I will defend myself.
Yeah,
it doesn't say I'm going to full on punch her and kick her to the ground, but I'll probably push her away, and if a slap's involved, so be it. If they're big enough to dish it out,
then they should be big enough to take. Doesn't matter. Listen, I'm equal opportunist. If a girl's fucking going to give it to you, you give it right back. And I'm sorry, but I'm not saying it as in, like in relationship. I never dream of it in anyone because I'm like, I don't think I've ever had a fight in my life, to be fair, because I've never had to. But
I think I've nearly had to.
No, but I've never had a fight, Canal. I think my fucking brothers would kill anyone for me.
How many fights have you had, Ian?
1 or 2.
With your casual whistling there.
Yeah.
You really give it away.
That's the thing. But I do think if a woman can hit a man, and some girls are quite big and they've got a lot of power behind them, and if you see them videos on YouTube and like they're always getting them, girls are fucking vicious. I mean, so if a girl tries to scrag me everywhere, I'm going to scrag her back.
I've seen some videos on the likes of YouTube where there's girls attacking a man in the street or their partner. And I'm thinking, that's a hell of a lot of restraint that poor fella's showing.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people, I could imagine, in self-defense, I'm not advocating hitting anyone.
No, exactly. That's what I mean. Self-defense, it's different. And in relationships, it's just a no-go. I mean, I think when I first got with Liam, I mean, my mouth runs away with it myself. And especially when my nieces and my nephews are around. I mean,
never have guessed.
I will F and Jeff like a sailor. I'm like a docker. I don't give a shit. I mean, these are like 5-year-olds going up to like 21 and young, and like the 2 young nieces. And I'm going, if anyone ever touches you, just fucking kick them in the fanny. And Liam will smack me, like to say, shut up. And my brothers have gone, did he just hit you? And I've had to sort of like, he didn't mean it like that. It's just sort of like to shut me up. And they've gone, oh, I don't like that. And he doesn't do it, like I say, it's just like he knows not to do it now because of like, do not hit me, otherwise I'll hit you back. But I think as I go, I've got a mouth like that, and I'm sure I've got undiagnosed Tourette's. So I have.
Any doctors who are watching this, please get in touch and
I've got self-diagnosed Tourette's, and I don't, as I say, I don't give a shit. But I think
there we go.
I do just sort of. My mouth runs away with it.
Yeah, but there's a difference between you saying something and someone nudging you.
Yeah, that's
someone,
what I mean.
if somebody nudges and go,
boom.
Yeah.
It's not one of them. It's like a little, shut up, one of them. And I'm like, But
God's sake, I do that to him all the time. It just have to glare.
Yeah, whatever they did. But I think
not that it works.
no, I think there's a difference. Sometimes I can imagine the emotional abuse being a lot harder to cope with than physical. Bruises, cuts, breaks, heal.
Yeah, the emotional side takes a lot longer.
That's got to take a lot longer, and for you
and
to
especially
come out
if
of.
you've got, and especially if you're in a relationship and you've got low self-esteem issues anyway, for somebody then to like highlight them and then reinforce that belief system on you, then do you know what? These people are just evil because they're preying on your weakness.
Do you think they do it because it's like a power thing? Where they like to have the control, or is it an insecurity on their part?
I don't know, because I've never been in that position.
I think some of it's insecurities, but I think some of it is
controlling, like a control freak.
Control, but I think some of it is, for me, and for what I think of my situation, it was whatever I was getting accused of or abused with, I think that is what was actually happening
in their life.
So like because I went through what was it, 7 months of it maybe. So mine was like a lot of emotional, a lot of being put down, and Ian met the person, so he knows exactly what they were like. So a lot of it was like, we would have fights and she would start texting someone who she worked with, who she'd mentioned tons of times, oh, I've got feelings for them.
I'd have gone.
Well, go then.
I
think it's easy for the likes of us to say, you know what? I think if you're in it, it's a different situation. And I don't think I'd know what I'd do. But because it's easy for us to say, you know what, I'd have gone, fuck off yourself, cow. Go on then, go and shag them, do what you want.
It's easy to look from the outside.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because at the time,
when you're in it, I don't think you could. I think you'd be. I think that'd be really hard and sort of soul destroying, because then you're competing with somebody who's probably not even wanting to do anything with that person. So in your head, you're then instantly competing for their affections with someone else.
Yeah, because at the time it was like, because I would be like, well, it's either break contact, don't work with them, because this was just extra work, didn't actually need to be done. It was either do that or we've got a problem. So like, but in the thick of it, pulled my hands up at the end of it. I was like, what the fuck? Why did I stay in that for that long? But at the time, it's just like, because you are brought down so much that that's the only person giving you attention.
So did you believe everything that person was saying to you?
Yeah, and because literally I think we started dating in the July in 2015, something like that, 2014, 15, one of them. And by the March, we broke up. We'd had a break. Within 2 days, she'd asked this person out. And then a week after, messaged me, said, oh, we need to break up. It's not fair on them.
I'd have gone, well, see you later.
Yeah, which was what I did. But that's how long it took from like going into it. I know it's only short. It only seems a short amount of time.
Listen, it doesn't matter though, because the damage is done, and I bet you it took it a long time.
Because it was from, we got together in maybe the July. I'm sure it was the July, and by the October, all those mental mind games were starting. Had started.
Listen, well, since we're talking about domestic abuse and stuff, I'll tell you, when I on the second Liverpool Pride. And this will tell you how long it took me to get over certain things. On the second Liverpool Pride, I went there with my mate. And, as you know, town's chocker. All the bars were full because everyone's at a bar one. It's now shut down, thankfully. And me and my mate went there and we started having a few drinks. And we got started talking to this gay couple who were in the 30s. And they seemed lovely in that. But my mate was thinking, oh, Martin's all right here. He'll have one more drink with them, and then he'll go home. Which that was my plan. I went to make sure that she got a taxi all right, come back, and when I had had another drink, which they bought for me, when literally about 10, 15 minutes after drinking it, I started feeling a little bit sick and a bit woozy. I went down the toilet, which were down the stairs, and when I got there, one of them had followed me and literally started to like hold my head as I was being sick or feeling like I was going to be sick. Next minute, the other one comes in, holds me down, while the other one then decided to rape me because I couldn't stop them because I was just pretty much out of it. And then after he finished, the other one had to go. And this is how much of how it took me up until I met Liam, and I'm talking about 7, 8 years nearly before I let anyone else touch me because of the damage that done to me. And I always thought, do you know what? It was my fault because I put myself in that situation. It was, I have to say, that contributes to my mental health. Literally put myself, because I blame myself for that. I literally got left there, and then I think it must have been about an hour or so, because as I say, the bar was dead because it was one of the places where you'd go. It was out the way. And when I got found, and I was like, and I just said, oh, I felt sick, and I must have collapsed or whatever. I got put in a taxi and got home, and I went to work the next day, and I think I put that much of a mental block on things that I was like, oh, yeah, it didn't happen to me, not at all. So it took years, and I mean years, before I let anyone else touch me.
I mean, it's probably easy for me to say on this one, but you had nothing to blame yourself for.
That's the thing, and I know that now, but I didn't back then. I
no
thought,
matter,
you know what?
Whether you're on your own or doing whatever you are doing when you're out, no one has the right to violate another person like that.
That's the thing. I had that done to me, and it still affects me now. It's like times when, I'm trying to be intimate, and then I'll close up and I'm going, don't touch me, and I will literally freeze up, like, do not touch me, because for some strange reason, like, I'm back there again, and I'm like, no.
Yeah.
But
did you ever deal with it? Sorry, my voice is going. Did you ever deal with it? Did you ever take it further?
I've had counselling for it, yeah.
Did you ever go to the authorities or anything towards it, or was that
too late? Because if it had happened straight away, then yeah, they could have, because there would have been DNA evidence, there would have been all sorts. But because I went home, I had a shower, I put my clothes in the wash, and then I got on with my life like it never happened. And that's what I do. I always tell it like it's a story, because then if it's a story, it doesn't affect me, because it's a story that I'm telling people. And then I'll sort of like try and take the emotional side away from it. We're talking about it now, I can feel myself shaking, because it's not something that I'm open about. But I think because we're talking about this, and this is all about, mental abuse, domestic abuse, sexual abuse, doesn't matter. It comes in all sorts of different shapes and sizes that I will talk about to use. But again, it's not in that I'll publicise about. Yeah. And can I say, and because of that bloody thing, them two pair of bastards, I'm now left with being HIV positive because of it. Where I'd always been safe with partners, doesn't matter what. Before because my dad drummed it into me from an early age. Before you get with someone new, you'd always make sure you're clean. You'd always make sure you go and get yourself checked. You're being adult about things. If you're an adult enough to have sex, you're adult enough to go and get the checks. And that was always drummed into me as a kid, or when I was growing up. And
can I just say then, Martin? I mean, you're saying this. You're speaking about this publicly. Are you all right with this being?
Yeah, as I say, because if people are being through what I've been through, and they need someone to talk to, feel free to message me. As I say, and if there's, you need counselling or whatever, there's places where you can go that get the help. You just need to look for it.
Reaffirm that
no, that's
okay.
fine. As I say, I'm okay with that. I'm fine with that. It's because I tell it as a story. Because I don't want to feel the emotional side of it. I block that out completely. But I do have moments where it does affect me, especially when I'm being intimate with my husband. Sometimes, I mean, it's very rare, but in that case, when I'm like that, he is so supportive. He knows what to do. He knows what he can do, he knows what to say. He knows how to behave. He knows not to push anything, and he's fine with that. It's just like, it's all right. We'll come back when you want to do it, like, or whatever.
That's awesome happens. That you got someone in your life that
and
is.
That's what I mean, and it's that. It is. It's such. I'm so blessed and lucky to have that. I know that, but I think other people, not everyone is as lucky as me, to be fair. And I do count my blessings when it comes to him, because it's like he has had to put up with a lot of shit with me, especially with my mental health. But that isn't 9 times 10 the cause of it. I mean, yeah, grief and that.
I mean, that's a thing. I think we've touched upon that a few times, is where our mental health and our depression, you tend to forget how it affects the people around you.
Yeah.
And what they've got to put up with because of the way we are. I mean, I'm the same. When I go into my depression, I don't talk to anyone. I go quiet, I go reserved, and I back away. And that's got to be a bit of a strain on some people, because the first thing is on the mind is like, fuck, what have I done?
No, exactly. People seem to think it's them, because they're all about.
Yeah.
I mean, not being self-centered, but some people go, "Oh, have I upset them?" And it's because they people are insecure about themselves that they think that way. Because I know I'm the same. I go, if somebody doesn't talk to me, I'm going, "Oh, what have I done?" And then it'll play on me, then thinking, "Have I said something?" And then I'm the type of person to go up to go, "Have I upset you?" Because if I have, I'm sorry. And they're about, "No, it's not about you." And you're like, "Oh, okay." And then that gets your back up then, because they've gone, "Not about you." And you're like, "Fuck, what have I done?" So then that plays again.
Right, I was only asking. It's kind of a weird one.
That's good where, like, the three of us, because like all of us will check in on each other regardless of whether we've got each
I
other.
won't. I couldn't care fucking less.
Oh, don't lie.
Do you know
what? If you don't hear from me for a few days, you message. You do.
Only in case I need a lift.
But it's like Ian said there. Like when he goes quiet, like everyone, because like we do the other groups and stuff, and anytime you go quiet, I always get inundated with messages. Is he all right?
Going to say, all right, saying. See, but I'll just message it out, right, and say how are you.
Yeah. But like, it's kind of a weird one as well, though, because there are times where you've got nothing to say, so you are quiet.
Yeah. And especially with these, because we chat about absolutely everything and anything and everything, and we're like, blah, 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 blah. There's nothing for you to fucking talk about.
Yeah. But it's
and sometimes, let's be honest, with the groups that we're on, there's some people that talk about stuff where you couldn't give a rat's arse about. So you are just sitting in the back like, leave them to it. It's not being horrible towards them, but it's not a conversation I'm involved in or want to know anything about.
I know, it gets a bit pointless sometimes. And you're like, really, shut up. But I do enjoy our groups.
Go back on the what we were talking about, domestic abuse. I watched yesterday, there was a BBC 3 programme, I'm reading this at the moment, from 3 years ago, where they did an experiment with a man and a woman in a park. And the first hour and a half, the woman sat down on the bench and the man was verbally abusive towards her. You know, the things of like, what do you think you were doing? Where have you put this thing? Types of stuff like that. And like, do you want me to slap you again? Do you? And for the hour and a half when it was that way, there was 7 people who passed, stopped, and assisted the woman. Then the next one, the role was reversed, where the woman standing up giving the fella the full-on verbal abuse. And for the hour and a half on that one stopped. One person stopped, and that was it. And he actually stopped the passer-by. Why didn't he intervene? what were your thoughts on that one? And some of it was kind of weird because where are we? The first reactions most of them said was, "Oh, the man probably deserved it or did something wrong." So that was why the woman was having a go with him. You did get the ones where they didn't want to get involved. You had quite a few of that one. But it was just weird because the way it was arranged, and it was good to watch because you did get these people, all rubbernecking as they're walking past. Oh, what's going on there? And there was one fella stopped and he was like, I didn't want to assist the fella because I thought he's a bloke, he'll be able to handle it.
Yeah, I think
that just shows.
I think stuff like that's still very taboo, though, isn't it? If you see people arguing and shit and getting berated, and if you sort of seeing if it was a woman doing it, you'd be more inclined to go and help them. But blokes, why is that though? Why are we like that?
I think it's just that misconception of the man can deal with themselves.
Yeah.
Or as a few of them said, "Oh, he's probably done something wrong."
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Like,
Still, no one should be abused that way, really.
No, if you took that back, 50, 60 years, and you had people screaming in the street, you'd have the whole neighborhood coming out, seeing what's wrong and making sure you're okay and stuff. Whereas I think it's also that sense of community's gone as well.
Yeah, there's none of that anymore.
But we're also in the age of get your phone out and record it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than getting involved.
It's like you see them kids. It's like when you see them kids and they literally kicking 10 passes shite out of each other.
Yeah.
Instead of helping them or separating them, they're all like on the mobile going, "Ooh, Facebook."
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a combination of people don't want to get involved. It's like Ian said, the man's most probably done something, and it's that age of now the sense of community has gone, the sense of togetherness is gone, and you don't get involved in other people's stuff anymore because it just.
But if you're seeing that happening, like now, would you get involved? Would you think would you have to sort of like to go up?
I would be very reluctant.
I would be, to be fair.
If I'd seen it, I'd still probably act more if it was a man abusing a woman.
Yeah.
Then if a woman
was abusing the fella, would you be like, now, love, can you wait till you're in the house or whatever and do it, or are you all right, mate? Do you need me to get anything? I don't know.
It's a weird one. I mean, I could sit here and say, get involved, but if you're in that situation, you don't know.
Yeah.
No. I would be very reluctant just because of how I've been brought up because when I was in school and stuff, they were like, well, don't get involved in anything because you don't know whether you've got a knife, a gun, and this.
That's the thing now.
So, like you, whereas like your Ian's generation more so, not because you're old, but you're old. But
that's the thing. You don't know what you're getting involved in anymore because it's like that. I'm sure it's like that lad. I mean, he broke up that young lad who got killed, stabbed in Highton last week or the week before.
Yeah,
he tried to stop the fight or something, and then the people who were having a fight then come up to him and stabbed him.
Yeah. Exactly. So you don't know whether actually you're doing more right for wrong, or exactly.
I think now the census on that one is call the authorities.
I think that's what I was about to say. I think if I seen that in the street and it made me feel uncomfortable, where I thought, okay, no, somebody's getting it here, or that doesn't seem right, I'd ring the police and I'd go up and say, by the way, just letting you know, I've just rung the authorities because I don't think this is right. Just go. If you want to carry it on, that's fine. But and then I'd get off. But I wouldn't be like wait around or not, because you don't know what could happen.
No,
that's it. You don't know the fallout. I think that can be the problem. I mean, one thing this show said as well is that 1 in 6 men will suffer abuse in a relationship. And I didn't realize it was that high.
That's the thing, though. It is, especially as I say, like
it's that,
and
kind
especially
of
over lockdown, it's risen by 25%.
It's that thing of you don't know what's going to happen behind closed doors, which is true. You don't know.
God, no, you have no idea.
You can easily put a front on when you go out. As soon as you get through that door and that door's shut, you don't know who or what changes.
Yeah. I mean, you have no idea with me and my sex toys behind closed doors.
That's
It's
exactly
only what I want to broadcast. That's on a different channel, and you'll have to look for that one.
I think that's
well,
our next hamster.
On that note, I want to draw to this fella.
Okay, so for our Spotify people, this is a big black man.
It's Noel Coward.
Noel Clark. For our Spotify viewers, he's a black man.
He's an actor. So
he's a black actor.
More famous for being a Doctor Who as Mickey.
Yeah.
He's been last week, allegedly, and it's all allegations. There's no evidence, or as of what I've read, there's no evidence or anything. There's just allegations So he's been accused of groping, harassment, and bullying by 20 women. So 20 women have come forward of allegations. BAFTA have suspended his outstanding contribution awards and actors membership. He's had alleged misconduct, including claims that he secretly filmed naked auditions. And he's allegedly showed colleagues sexually explicit photos and videos of women. Now, he's had, don't know if anyone saw it last week, he had a TV show on ITV every night that week, airing an hour and a half, I think. Friday's episode got cut because of these allegations. Now, I'm not saying it's not been done. I'm not saying it has been done. But I just want to get an idea of, like, because for me, this is, I don't know whether it's like you're punishing them before there's any concrete evidence, or is this just precautions, taking them off the screen, getting the attention?
There's no such thing as innocent until proven guilty now, is there? That's the thing. It's like, guilty.
It's like being sentenced
innocent
before going to court. You've already been judged by people that you're guilty.
Yeah.
Before the actual court case or the allegations or the evidence has been shown. I mean, to take his BAFTA and all that away from him is, in my opinion, at the moment, wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Can I just read?
If all these allegations come out to be true, he could deserve everything he gets.
Yeah.
Can I just read you something from The Guardian?
Go on then.
So The Guardian's spoken to the 20 women, so the Guardian newspaper in the UK, all of whom knew Clark in a professional capacity. Okay. They variously accused him of sexual harassment, unwanted touching or groping, sexually inappropriate behaviour, and comments on set, professional misconduct, taking and sharing sexually explicit pictures and videos without consent, and bullying. And all of this has been between 2004 and 2019.
I'm always wary about why it took so long.
So long for it to happen now, yeah. If that's been going on since 2004, why has it took, nearly 15 years, 19 years for them to come forward?
I mean, as I say, if he's done this and it's proven, he deserves everything he gets. But
yeah, to be fair, I wouldn't want him finger banging me, to be fair.
It's the time it's took for all this to come out into the open. Because they seem to have waited till he's got he's a bigger star now, and that person's getting more of the limelight.
Honestly, don't know. I was thinking the same. Why? I know, like, in the past, where, like, you've had, like, the Jimmy Savile cases and all of that. You've had the Speak Out movements and all those, the Hollywood movement that happened a few years ago with all the abuse and allegations. And I think it's like anything. No secret's going to be a secret forever. But because I didn't find anything in that article to say why this has only just appeared now and why it's only just come to light now. Who's made the allegation? I'm not sure. I've not seen where that's come from.
This is like, I don't understand how, and if this is, if it's true, why would he think he was untouchable then? I don't understand. It's like that, what's his name? That They say to speak out. Yeah, the Epstein or the other fella, Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah.
Why did you think you were so untouchable? Because you're this bigwig?
Well, a lot of them, I can understand so much with like to the Hollywood thing because there were people who were involved there could make or break your career.
Yeah. But isn't he pretty much the same? Like
he did. I can see why they kept quiet.
But he's pretty much the same on this, and not as much as like he's not as like rich and as powerful, but he's a producer, writer, all that. So I mean, so people who want to become actors in the UK and they get him, then he's kind of sort of like the same. He can make or break you. He can put you on the screen or not, because it's down to him at the end of the day.
Yeah,
he's
but
the
like,
producer and the writer.
But like some of these allegations are like 2004, so I think that was when he was just breaking in as well. So why wait?
That's what I mean. Why wait for 10, 15 years?
I can see why some people might wait. They may not want to come forward, which is fair enough. It's like it's up to them. You know, you can't tell anyone what to do.
Yeah, I mean, if they've gone through a situation that one they may feel ashamed of,
and I totally get that. Totally get that.
They might not want to broadcast it. So now that it's come out, they felt they got the courage to actually come forward. Yeah. I understand that part of it, but I think the problem with it is, how do you prove it? Because isn't it just going to be his word against them?
Yeah, hearsay, isn't it? Because there's no evidence to back it up.
Yeah. No. Unless you get witnesses from around the time, or you know, some of these people were working. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know how you could.
I think there's got to be more to it than just what they're showing in the media. Then, because if they took his BAFTA nom or suspended it or anything on suspected allegations, then there's got to be more to it. There's got to be more coming than what's being leaked at the moment. So there's going to be a bigger fallout from it.
I think the problem with anything like this is if he hasn't, or he gets acquitted and there's no evidence whatsoever, not just talking about this fella, but in general, if you're accused and you're a star, that sticks.
Yeah, shit sticks.
It's like these poor fellas that get accused of rape and the other person who comes round says, I was lying, I made it up. There was one story, actually funny enough, I was looking at, and a fella did 4 years in prison over the allegations of this lady, well, say lady, and after 4 years, she felt the burden was too much and went to the authorities and basically said, I lied. It never happened. But well, it was like that. 4 years and it's got that stigma attached to him.
Well, do you remember last year or the year before, there was that French teacher who killed himself in France after allegations that one of the secondary children he was teaching.
Oh, yeah.
For her to then come out this year and say, oh, well, I made it up.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Yeah. So he'd been accused of being in a relationship with this child. I think she was about 15, 16, something like that. And went through courts and everything. And he ended up killing himself. I think he killed himself, or was he the one who was beheaded? Or was that a few years ago?
But
I think he committed suicide.
Isn't the legal age for sex, isn't that 14 in France?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But I get
that side of it's wrong no matter what. I mean, if you're an adult and you're having sexual relations with anyone, you know, of a certain age, disgusting, you need to be castrated and have your dick chopped off and shoved up your ass. But on the legal side, isn't that sort of like, it's like if I was to have sex with a 16-year-old now, that's not illegal. Not that I would.
No.
So, but if that's in France, if they were like 15, isn't that above the legal age?
That's where you've got to start looking at it as a moral standard.
That's it. It's the ethical side of it, innit? The moral side of it. I'd say it's wrong.
But it was a lie. She made it up.
Yeah. And the fella killed himself.
And the fella killed himself. As a result of these allegations.
I'd say, I mean, I'm not referring to what we just
No, not referring to this at all. But I'm just putting an example.
But you've got to be careful of the false allegations. There, it should be you're innocent until proven guilty. And as we've said before, unfortunately, at the moment in these times, you are slated because you're guilty.
It's
you
the
are
opposite. Guilty and proven innocent.
And the effects that can have on people is, well,
exactly
life-threatening.
Psychological issues just last for a
lifetime.
You
think then there's got to be stronger? I suppose it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you want people, if they go through this, obviously, to come forward.
Yeah.
If they've legitimately got a case or a claim. But should there be stronger sentences against people who falsely accuse? For the damages they cause?
I think it should be equal. You know, if you're going to put people through that trauma of being accused and being sent through all of this crap, then you're basically mentally abusing them as much as it would if it was actually real.
It's like that case where the fellow went to prison for 4 years because the woman eventually said, "I made it all up." So sorry. She got, I think it was sentenced to a year in prison. So chances are she'll serve like 6 months.
If that.
That fella, he lost his job, his wife, relationship, his freedom. Now he's got to come back into society, and you're still going to get people going like,
"Yeah, because it's going to be on the record, isn't it?"
Yeah,
but you're never going to wash yourself of that allegation.
I was just going to ask. It's like no, even though because you see all these like and hear about them now, like in America or here, and you get like girls who've had one night stands and they've instantly regretted it, and then they've said they're being raped, and then they said, "Oh, that person's raped me," whatever. Does anything happen to them? When they found out that it was falsely accused, that they consented to it just because they were a bit drunk or whatever. Does anything ever happen to them?
Cases, hasn't there, where women have consensually slept with someone in the night, regretted it the next day, and took consent back? How can you do that?
That's the thing, you can't.
But there is people being taken to court because they've decided to take consent back the next day. That, to me, I can't wrap my head around that.
Well, I don't see how
that time you said, yeah, and it's been both parties have agreed to it, you've done whatever. Next day, whether there's been fallout or whatever, or he's basically just done it, and the next morning he's like, right, here's your taxi fare, fuck off.
I mean, I could understand if, you'd agreed to it and halfway through you were like, no, get off me, no. And then they continued. Then, I'd get that totally. But if
fair enough, if during it you suddenly realise, no, this is bang up, I don't want to do this.
I don't want this, and they continue.
Yeah, you've got to stop. I understand.
Yeah, but if you haven't said no and you've just gone, yeah, okay, and you've regretted it, then that's just a mistake. It's not rape because you consented to it. You still carried on.
It's a fucking life choice, isn't it? You mean you live by it and you don't do it next time.
I mean, I've sat with people and thought, fuck me, what am I doing here? But I still got on with it.
Yeah. Oh, because it's like now, though.
I woke up the next morning with some monsters and I've been like, oh, regretted it. But
it's like now, though, if you more for like me, I don't know about you, Ian, but like on the dating scene now, you're actually quite reluctant to actually start talking to someone and get to know them in case that happens. Because you hear that many cases and it's, shown on TV quite a lot of, you meet someone and then allegations are set. You're actually worried about going out to meet anyone anymore.
Because as you say, even if they're false, you're still tarnished with that and you're trying to defend yourself.
Are you going to go on some sort of register and all that? Like a sex offenders register?
Yeah. Yeah. But do you know what I find? And I'm not making light of this, but it's funny how that, that sense of community that we were talking about before has disappeared. It's funny how that sense of community comes back so quickly when someone's done something, and
Yeah.
even when they've been, pardoned with it, or not pardoned, but found not guilty. It's funny how that sense of community comes back in a negative way.
Yeah. If it's something negative, everyone just wants to jump on the bandwagon.
Because as you say, even if they get found innocent, it's like, oh, something. They've got that mentality. Something must have happened.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, there's no smoke without fire and all that in it, as the saying goes.
And I mean, accusations, it goes on both sectors as well. I can imagine it goes both ways.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
I feel sorry for the person who gets stuck in that situation.
Yeah.
Because it's a no-win, is it?
No. I just hope that if he has done it, he does get reprimanded in the right way. If, all these allegations are found to be lies, I hope they get reprimanded in the right way.
Yeah.
But either way, I just hope it gets sorted and it's put to bed.
Yeah, as I say, it's not. Doesn't seem to be a pleasant situation
don't drag it
either
on
way.
just for ratings and selling your papers or whatever.
That's the media for you, though. They'll drag everything out, won't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow the media at all. I think 99% of it's bollocks.
Yeah.
On that note, we're going to move on. I want to bring you to... So, over the weekend in Liverpool, because, we are obviously the town that has to trial everything, according to the government. So we had our mask-free concerts over the bank holiday weekend. So we had a concert down on the dock, concert in Sefton Park last night. I think there was a few things going on Saturday. So these were events where you would get COVID tested beforehand and afterwards. No social distancing was involved. No masks were involved. And this is the hospitality industry trying to prove that it's not that industry that is spreading COVID.
See, I absolutely love this. I think it's amazing that they're doing it.
I love seeing that image of everyone together again.
I think it's a step. It shows that we're trying to get back to normal. And
but should the hospitality industry, though, have to go to this extreme to prove that, that sector is not the main reason for the spread of COVID?
See, the thing is, you can't blame one group or one sector for the spread of COVID. It was there.
Yeah. It's been a combination of different things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chances of people all being in a close little area like this, it probably did spread. But as you say, I think the thing is now it is a case of it's here. We learn to live with it to the best of it we can. We can't carry on the way we have been.
No, we can't. I mean, because I work in the hospitality sector.
I understand the strain it put on the NHS and what's going on in the world. Jesus, you don't have to look at India at the moment.
Exactly.
And the poor shit they're going through. So it has been a big deal. But is it a case now that this is the new norm and this is just the way we've got to be?
The thing is, I think, that's a step forward. And I know because I was looking at it myself and I was actually quite interested. So I actually looked into it. They all got to have PCR tests before to prove that they were all negative before they got there. And then when they were coming out, there was people there doing the tests for the follow-up. So if anyone did catch anything while they were there, then they're going to be able to contain it by saying, oh, you tested positive.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to contain it, so it shouldn't spread. So I think that's a step forward, and I think that in a positive.
Well, yeah, because as you say, I mean, they're doing it in a very positive way. They're regulating the people. They're making sure they're okay before it in. Because one person there, I suppose, even if you didn't know you had COVID and you spread it around there, the guilt I'd feel if I'd done that.
Oh,
so
God,
I'd want to check before I went to that social area.
Can I give you some statistics just to think about, right?
Go on.
26th of January, which looks like not the highest peak, but around about the 20th, go with the 20th, 1,820 deaths that day in the UK.
Yeah.
As of yesterday, 14.
See, that's the thing. It's the cases, but we didn't have the vaccine rollout back then, did they? Really? I mean, it only started in December, and we're only in May now. And the fact that they've done over 35 million. I mean, at least for one dose.
But if you look back at last August, the highest, right, from the whole of August, like the 30th of July 2020, no deaths. I think the highest within August was about 21st of August. You've got 2.
But there was no vaccines then either, was there?
There was no vaccines. That was after the first lockdown. So you've got all of that, which is then,
But then that puts stock into the fact that you're saying that, but the lockdown was, because let's put it this way, because I was still going to work during the first lockdown, and during the first lockdown there was hardly any cars on the bleeding road.
Yeah,
hardly any. I mean, and you just have to look at the environment. It was look at them pictures of Blackpool. Where you got the steps in Blackpool, and it goes right down to the sea. The water was spotless. Second lockdown, because you could go to work, the roads were fucking chocker, and the city looked like a shit tip again.
Yeah. I mean, I think the third lockdown was a fucking farce.
Yeah,
no one really bothered. I mean, to me, it just, when you went out, where if I had to go shopping for milk and bread and stuff, the streets were just like, all right, it wasn't as busy as normal. It looked like a Sunday.
Yeah.
There was people out and about, all wandering over. The amount of cars going up and down the streets and the roads, I was thinking, where are you all going? Because you're all meant to be mixing.
Exactly.
I think people got tired of it, I think, from the first one. The second one was a mini semi-lockdown. It wasn't really, proper lockdown.
And the thing is, I can honestly say, hand on heart, and I never went anywhere. I didn't have anyone in my house. I didn't go to anyone else's house. The only place I went was to work and to the shops, and you had to queue for that. That's all I done. I never went to anyone. And you know what? I'm fucking so over it, because I miss my family. Now we can see them. I'm seeing them. I don't give a fuck anymore. Past fucking caring. I think, we just need, as you say, you need to just sort of learn to live with it now. And I did see this in the news the other day, that the UK has booked another 60 million doses of the Pfizer jab for in the winter months for people who are more vulnerable. So I think that's just going to be the way forward every year, isn't it?
It's just going to be like a flu jab.
Instead of a flu jab, you're going to have a COVID jab, because I bet you haven't heard of any single person having the flu this year, have you?
No, because it's been COVID.
Exactly.
I think that has been a problem. I do believe that a lot of statistics have been, I'm not going to say false,
moved into a different category,
included in it that shouldn't have been.
As to men who have got the jab, how are you feeling about coming out of this lock? Because I've not had mine yet. I've been called for it, but I'm still reluctant.
Why are you reluctant to get it? That's what I don't understand.
My whole look on it is because I've heard the things about the fertility side of it, and I've looked into it, and for me, I'm not. I want to process it all first.
Isn't that like the whole? If you'd have the AstraZeneca, you're gonna have a blood clot fucking scenario. It's a very, very slim chance.
Oh no, I know all that, but for me, it's just I'm trying to weigh up my thoughts on it, because I got bombarded with phone calls from my doctors for about 2 weeks. So then when I finally answered them, it was a student doctor who was I was asking, could I talk to a proper doctor, to which they was like, oh, I'm a student, so I can help you. I was just like, no offense,
no, you're not
qualified. You might know tons of it about it, but I don't want to talk.
I've had both jabs, and I know Ian has, and I know when I got the first jab, it literally put me on my ass for 2 days.
Yeah.
And I felt grim, but I felt all right after that. My second jab, it was like I had a hangover. So I am pro jab. I think if it gets people to getting back into work, getting the jobs back, because as I say, I work in the hospitality sector, and where I work, after cause of COVID, there's only 3 people. We're in a kitchen of, say, 14 people. There's now only 2 jobs out of the cause of COVID.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like, and I've seen loads of people, and I know friends where I used to work who've lost jobs, being made redundant. And I know there's other places across the board, like across the whole work sectors, because people can work from home and jobs have become obsolete, and offices are realising that people work better at home than in the office because they're more productive. So I am pro jab.
Yeah, same here on that one. If it gets us going back to as normal as we're ever going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
take the jab.
I
understand where you're coming through, Bernard, where
I get where your reservations.
Yeah, but I think with any medication, there's going to be side effects. Doesn't matter what they are. It's whether or not they're to the extreme that you were talking about there.
Which is why I want a doctor's opinion rather than a medical student, which, no offense, they're studying, they're getting to that point. But for me, it's just like, well, no offense, you're not qualified.
No, I get what you're saying, and I understand your reservations, but I do think it's like a very, very slim chance. But I do know now when you get when they are giving you vaccination. Yeah. When I had my first one, they never bothered asking if you were on any blood thinners or aspirin or anything like that. They are now. So they've took that into account, because they asked me if I was on warfarin or aspirin, and I'm going, no.
I think I'd rather wait a little bit longer so that they could get a bit more knowledge about it and how, the side effects and all that stuff. I'd rather wait that little bit longer.
And I know you can't have the jab if you're a pregnant lady.
No, you can't have it now.
No.
So I'm just on the mindset. You're all right.
I'm all right.
I'm a bit chunky, but I'm not pregnant.
I'm on the mindset of I'd rather wait. I've had it twice. If it was going to kill me, it would have killed me by now. Not saying that for anyone else,
No.
But
and can I just say though, somebody I'm not allowed to, but right, somebody I know, and because you gave me this message the other day, I'm talking about pregnancies and stuff.
Yes, yeah.
This person had the jab about 5 months ago, and he's managed to, knock his missus up. So it doesn't. I can't. I don't understand. I don't know where the numbers are that and that, but that sort of it hasn't stopped his swimmers.
Plus the fact, let's be honest, nobody's going to sleep with you anyway, Bernard, so I don't know what you're worrying about.
Go gay, Bernard, I'll sort you out.
You bunch of good shit.
Not me personally, but I'll get you somebody to knock you up.
On that note, you can go on the big screen for once.
God, here we go. Funny enough, this week, nothing has really upset me, but what I'd like to ask is people to make comments about stuff that has annoyed them. So maybe I can look into it and see if it pisses me off, and I'll have a rant about it. So back to you two.
No, you're staying there.
No, I'm all right.
Is there anything that pissed me off that I want you to look into? No.
I don't know. Just get me off the screen or I'll fucking leave.
I don't really get annoyed. It's only like little things that bug me.
Do you know what? I've had quite a pretty good week. I've not had anything to be annoyed at.
I mean, to be fair, my week only just started today, so I'm blessed.
To be fair, I think people are just going to be disappointed that they're not going to hear a rant this week.
Yeah. No, the only thing that has pissed me off a little bit this week, and it goes back to the COVID thing, is if you're going to wear a mask, cover your fucking nose.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I don't see the fucking point. It's either under your fucking chin, over your lip, and your fucking nose is poking out.
Yeah.
It's not difficult. Another fucking inch, and it covers it. Plus, half of you are ugly fuckers. You need to wear a mask. There you go, sort of a rant.
On that note, I think we've come to an end. This show gets longer and longer.
I was going to say, it's getting longer.
Fucking hell.
Last week was an hour and 1. This week's an hour and 5.
And it's counting more because you're talking.
Yeah. Right, on that note, we'll end. So,
thanks for listening.
If you've got anything that's annoyed you, please send it in. Ian will have a rant about it. If you've got any topics that you want us to cover, please feel free to let us know. We will see you next week live at 7:30. Enjoy.
Bye
Thank you. Au revoir.